Hello friends and welcome back to the Dork Side. I'm the Dork in the road and I'm not done, but I'm done for now with my 450L build. There's been a lot of new things added to it since the last time you saw it. I'm the Dork in the road and I want to be your internet riding buddy, so please consider subscribing. This is my Honda CRF450L. It replaced my DRZ, as many of you know. I got a smoking deal on this bike. It's a 2019. I got it with 600 miles for less than $8,000. So it's basically brand new, barely broken in. I finally did the oil change on it. I've had the good fortune to work with some amazing sponsors on this build, and I want to show you all the cool stuff that I put on it. My goal here was to turn this into a light adventure bike. A BDR killer is what I was calling it, because after my experience feeling like I was in over my head on the Washington BDR, I thought it sure would be nice to have a smaller, lighter bike that felt more capable, that could still get me there and do all the things. Mostly inspired by Tim and his KTM 500 EXCF. So I ended up with this 450L because, like I said, I got a great deal. But I also kind of want a bike that's still reasonably capable of doing trail riding and stuff. So I've tried not to go super crazy, huge, heavy on the accessories. This is sort of the trail riding, day tripping, forest exploring setup. I did a video on my motorcycle camping setup on this bike. You can check that out if you want to, but that's not what's in this video. This is going to be all the performance and protection mods and then a few of the bags I would have on there if it was a day trip. So if you're looking for ideas for your 450L for mods and things to add to it, let me show you what I've done, and hopefully you can find some inspiration. And obviously I will link everything in the description below. So starting at the front, the most important mod of all, that is the Dork in the Road sticker. That is a +5 horsepower mod. That's a joke, but there it is. We do sell these on my website, or you can win them on the live streams. Let's just start in the cockpit. First, obvious, every bike, every video, double take mirrors. These are adjustable mirrors, as you can see, easily adjustable on the fly. Two, you can fold them in if you get into some rough stuff and you want them out of your way, or I like to just fold them in when I'm loading this in my trailer in the back of my truck. And three, if they hit something on the trail, they fold up. They don't break. They have a lifetime warranty. They're indestructible, supposedly, and I have these on literally every motorcycle because I love them that much. Here in the middle, this is a custom job from, I don't know if the glare is too bad, from Lexdy Fox. Lexdy Fox on Instagram and here on YouTube. His name's Alex, and he makes these custom parts for a 450L, so he has a 450L. But this is just a polycarbonate dash with a hole for a USB charger. This thing works great. It's got a voltmeter. And the dash here is nice. You can order it from him directly with the hole pre-drilled. So I just slapped that in there, wired it in, and was good to go. Over here, same setup on every bike. Quad lock bar mount, quad lock vibration dampener, and this is the quad lock waterproof, weatherproof induction charging head. So my phone just goes on there like that, comes off. Easy. I'm on and off my bike a lot, taking pictures. I need a quick and easy mount. I use it with this bike, at least for the current setup. It's my GPS, so I need it visible and charging, and this all does the job. So it just runs this cable to the back here, so it's waterproof. Also here in the center, the most obvious addition is this giant loop zigzag bag. You may have noticed on this bike, I'm not running a full-size tank bag. And that's because this is my more aggressive riding bike. I find myself leaning forward a lot. That's not to say the giant loop bags get in the way. They don't most of the time, but I have hit myself in an uncomfortable place on my bigger tank bags more than once. So on this bike and on lighter bikes like this, I like to run the buck and roll tank bag, and it's a good size. You can fit a lot more in there than you'd think. For instance, my Motocamp Nerd Flask fits perfectly. But that's the buck and roll tank bag, and then this is the zigzag handlebar bag, or the glove box for your motorcycle. And this is also a great size for your stuff that when you've got your motocross pants on or your riding pants, you may not want your phone and your keys and your wallet in your pocket so you don't fall on them. Look how perfectly my phone fits. It's like almost like they did that on purpose. Also up here, you can see it just barely right here, although I scratched it, obviously cutting the grip off. That is a throttle tamer, the G2 throttle tamer, which I don't know if it's a must-have mod for this bike, but it is highly suggested. It transforms the motorcycle. One of the biggest complaints about this bike is that it's twitchy and hard to control, particularly at slow speeds. You got to use a lot of clutch because it's super revvy. And this thing gives you a lot more low-end control. Okay, this is a nerdy reference, but those of you that get it will know 100% what I'm talking about. Sort of like the original PlayStation controller only had a D-pad, right? That is an analog control, it's on or off. And then they came out with the analog joysticks, and suddenly you could only turn a little bit or a lot. You had a lot more control. And that's what this gives you. It's more analog control, where before it kind of felt digital on the 450L. The stock setup is interesting. These are the Pro Grip some number, I'll put it in the description. These are the ones that Everride highly recommends, and also my buddy Travis, Explore Adventure Moto, said they're really awesome. So I decided to try them on this bike because they're supposed to be vibration reducing. They're a little wider than what I'm used to because I've always run the Pro Taper pillow tops, but they do reduce the vibration. Did I just say they're a little wider than I'm used to? That's what she said. But they're good, cheap, inexpensive, easy to install. So I'm happy with them so far. And then on the front, the handguards, these are the Zeta handguard. I didn't add these Zeta handguards, they came with it. It has a space for the integrated turn signal if I want to get rid of this huge thing and put it in there. I may do that someday. It does sort of annoy me that the red is a slightly different color, but the anodized red matches some of the other anodized parts that I put on the bike, so I like that. These are my A to Z Composites fork guards. Those are carbon fiber. They slip right on, incredibly lightweight. In fact, every time I get a package from them, I'm like, why do you send me an empty box? And then I open it and I'm like, oh yeah, carbon fiber. These are actually aftermarket factory effects fork guards. The previous owner put those on. And then the front tire, shockingly, the Tusk D Sport Adventure. I had that tire on the front and the rear. I've run this tire on a lot of bikes. Wears like iron, good traction. Can't recommend it enough. And it's only 60 bucks. They're not expensive, so that is hard to beat, especially for a bike that you ride on and off the road, so you're going to put some highway miles in. It's nice to have. Moving farther back, probably the most difficult upgrade that I did was, this is the IMS 3-gallon tank. I want a bike that is reasonably capable of doing long distance trips, but without sacrificing a lot of the nimbleness that comes with a bike this size. That's why I went with the 3-gallon tank and not like one of the 5-gallon tanks. This is a direct drop-in replacement. It was not hard to install. Your low fuel light still works because you just put your fuel pump in right out of the other tank. You can hardly tell that it's an extended tank, honestly, unless you're looking harder, you know, especially with the black one. I don't like the clear one as much. These are the Flatland Racing radiator guards. You can see it's on both sides. And I like these because they give you some side-to-side protection as well as impact protection on the front. So if I drop this on a rock, it's got, see, it wraps all the way around. It's going to protect it from getting crushed by the rock, as well as protecting from impacts here to the front. So that is a beefy addition that gives you a lot of protection that doesn't add a lot of weight. Oh, I almost missed a very important thing. So if you're like me and you sometimes put your bike in a truck or a trailer, these are a super underrated addition. These are actually the Ryder Cargo tie downs. That's a Rocky Mountain brand, but these have like a 2,000 pound bend strength. But instead of trying to wrap a bunch of straps and crap around the bars or whatever, I just hook it on right here, blink, and I'm good to go. Those are so convenient, and you can see I've got full motion. They don't even come close to hitting anything. So I have those on both sides. Freaking game changer, man. Flatland Racing aluminum skid plate. Had the same one on my 250L and loved it, so I went with Flatland again on this bike. And then underneath, you can hardly see it, but that's the Tusk skid plate foam. It reduces vibration, noise, and it also just keeps crap from getting up underneath there. Tusk folding brake lever, which I've been meaning to put the cable on. Now that I've got the skid plate on, I need to do that. It comes with a cable that runs to here that'll make it harder to get crap stuck in behind your brake lever. Tusk aluminum foot pegs. These are so much wider and bigger than stock. They grip really well, and they are cheap. They're a good price. I haven't managed to break them yet. Works connection, rear brake reservoir protector. I did not put that on. That came with the bike, but there it is. It is beefy, so I can see why they went with that one. And while we're down here at the wheel, you can see I've got some Tusk stuff here too. So this is the rear brake caliper protector and the disc protector. Damn, I've already dinged it up. I seriously thought maybe this thing is pointless and I don't need it. But look, it's already taken hits. So this fin is actually replaceable. I have no idea what I hit that on. It must have been when I was riding in Central Oregon. It's already protecting my rotor and I didn't even realize it. So good addition. Consumable part here can be swapped in and out. And it's all anodized red, which looks awesome. Tusk branded rim locks on the inside of both tires. Tusk heavy duty tubes. This is another Tusk D Sport Adventure. This is a powerful torquey bike, so that rim lock will prevent the tire from spinning and shearing off the valve stem when I'm running low pressure. And the heavy duty tube should hopefully protect against a lot of pinch flats and stuff like that. And I put baby powder inside when I installed them. So here's hoping that protects me and keeps me from having to take one of these tires off. That is the Giant Loop Mojave saddlebag. You can see I've also got the Giant Loop mounts here right at that frame bolt. I actually had to modify these slightly. I just bent them out a little so I could get this in and out, but I love those because you can't see it with it on there. If you look down here, you can. There's a slit in the middle, which means I can just loosen this and then just slide it out without unlooping the whole thing. So this is my favorite go-to saddlebag for day trips. You have an unbelievable amount of space and you don't even notice these bags on there at all. I love this setup. Also on top, this is the Giant Loop lift strap, which I've just attached to the rack, but this gives you a handhold for moving the bike around, picking up the bike. These are so cheap. They're like 15 bucks. Super handy to put this back here. I also run one on the forks sometimes, just in case someone's trying to help me get up a hill or something. They have something to hold on to. And then, of course, my favorite mod, one of my favorite mods for this bike, Seat Concepts Comfort XL seat. This seat on this bike sucks in stock form. You know that if you've ridden one. It is a motocross style seat. It feels like a 2x4. This thing is night and day. This seat is the only reason why I would consider this a light adventure bike and not a dual sport / dirt bike that's street legal, because I can ride it much longer with that seat, and I highly recommend it. You can save 10% with promo code DorkInTheRoad22 on Seat Concepts site. I don't get paid, I just want you to save money because it's an awesome product and they're expensive. And then Giant Loop site, you can save 15% with promo code DorkInTheRoad. I don't get paid unless you use my links, so you can choose whether to do that or not. But saving 15% on some of this great gear is totally cool, totally worth it. I do not have a Rocky Mountain code. Unfortunately, they don't do discount codes. At least take advantage of the Giant Loop and the Seat Concepts, and I also have one for A to Z composites if you want fork guards, and that one is Dork in the Road. This is the Tusk rear rack. I like this one because it attaches actually inside. You can't see, but you can kind of see right here. I had to drill down into the fender because it attaches to this bolt hole here, so that is solid hardware mounted. So a neat little accessory. But on top, I've added this Klamath tail bag. This thing is super underrated. I feel like people forget it even exists, but it's basically, especially on a bike like this where I'm not running a full-size tank bag, this is like a tank bag for the rear of your bike. And it's got plenty of space. It comes with a divider. It's got a zippered pouch, webbing here on top for your gloves, whatnot. Sweet little bag, clamshell concept, easy to get in and out of. And like I said, super underrated. You may notice I'm missing a giant whale tail back here. That is the 12 O'Clock Labs tail tidy that the previous owner put on. I actually didn't do that one. But the thing that adds the most horsepower back here is my Backcountry Discovery Routes license plate cover, because I had to donate to get it. So donate to the BDR, support the organizations that create the routes we ride, and you get cool rewards like this. But let me show you the coolest thing about this 12 O'Clock Labs tail tidy. Integrated turn signal. Hopefully that shows up on the camera, both sides, so I don't have floppy turn signals hanging off. Pretty cool. That is the Tusk clutch lever. Why? Because it's black. I should have got one for both ends. I don't remember if they don't make one for the brake or I just didn't think of it, but you know, black looks better, I think, so I got a black one. Oh, and my Tusk folding shift lever. So nice to have a folding shift lever. Nice for it to be black. I like the look. I like the red. And pro tip, I tried to go in and install it one spline higher to give myself a little bit more room for my boots, but you can see from the wear on this plastic, I was hitting the plastic every time I upshifted, so I had to put it back. So don't try to squeeze an extra spline out when you're installing an aftermarket brake lever. It doesn't work on the 450L because there's crap in your way. Tusk 2-inch bar risers. I was having a hell of a time with this bike when I first got it. These bar risers helped a ton, especially with the standing position. I don't notice them when I'm sitting, so I really like bar risers. It's a much more comfortable standing position for me. So that's it. That's my 450L. What do you think of my 450L build? What mods do I still need to add? What mods do I have that I don't need? Let me know in the comments. I will, of course, link to everything in the description so you can find it if you're going to try to find any of these things for yourself. Pretty happy with where it's at right now. I do have an alternative tail rack on the way that I'm happy to show you when I can. It's just not something I can show you yet because it's a prototype, but you'll see it on the bike soon enough. For now, that's where the build stands, and of course I'll keep tweaking and tinkering, but the basic idea is there. If you liked the video, if you got an idea out of it, if it was helpful at all, please consider hitting the like button. I want to be your internet riding buddy, so please consider subscribing. Don't forget, I'm better than your regular riding buddies because I'm available whenever you want, and I come with a mute button. Thank you for watching, and as always, please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.